do the story. It was, they'd walk down into the basement, they'd walk across the room, and all of a sudden they heard a voice. And the voice said, "I am the ghost with one black eye." The kids love that part. And at one point I was playing with them at a craft show, so I think they thought I actually worked there. Because I was out there, and as people would walk in, I'd just say, "Welcome to the craft show." And, but when I made them, I made sure I put a little cut here, so that way this is movable. This is just from a sign post. You know, like those political signs you see out there with the metal?
Oh, I see why they lose in last couple of weeks.
I did not do that. I did have some donated to me. But I cut one of the sides, and I just put some duct tape on here, so that way it's comfortable and you're not getting cut into your hand. And I just poked it through the arm. So a lot of it is just materials I scrounged together to make this guy. The mouth is actually from those signs. It's corrugated plastic. It is this. And I use that because it's sturdy. When you have your hand in these things, especially if you're doing that for several hours, your hands can start to sweat, and it could actually damage it if you're using like cardboard or something. So for this, I use corrugated plastic. For the stuffed animals, I actually use poster board because it's cheap and it doesn't matter as much. There's not as much money involved in these. But if I'm going to take the time to build something like this, I'm going to use sturdier materials. This guy took 26 hours to build. We will not be making these today. We do not have that kind of time. We'll be doing more like these, because these are faster. Yeah, so 26 hours for this, for the simple build. But I'm going to show you the video of how I did the head. I wish this guy had more videos. He uploaded this a year ago. He said he was going to show how to make the body, and he never did. So I kind of had to guess on the body, which is basically just a tube of styrofoam. And I'll show you how, actually, this was the first puppet I did. I made him one, which he talked about before. Now it is a lot more improved. I still sewed on the arms, but I did a better job as far as this. It's still not what I would do now. I've learned since then. This was only the second puppet I've ever done. Now I would actually hot glue the arms on because it's just easier. You can also see my stitching is terrible on these first ones. I kind of did what he said, and it doesn't look as pretty as the way he does it, but someone told me how to do a better stitching, which I'll show you the most recent puppet I did, and the stitching is much, much more improved. So some of these have some weird stitching on them. But before we get to the video, so that was the first one, that was the second one. This is the third one I ever did. This is actually the ghost head, but it's the top part twice. You'll see that it has the bottom jaw is a little smaller. This I just did the head twice to make it big. The teeth were white at one point, but it just kind of gets dirty really fast. I probably should put cloth over it, but it was a calculated risk. But when I made him, I just made him because I wanted to. And I really had no use for him. And you can see his arms are hot glued on. His stitching's still not great, but at least I got it even, so I was learning. This was the third one I've ever made. Again, I put a cut right through there, so that way his arm bends. I put one on this one too, in case if I ever wanted to put a stick on this one. So I was planning ahead. I had nothing for him. I just made him. We were doing an event at the community garden down the road, and I was kind of walking around, and I was trying to give him a voice. You know, the ghost has that deep voice. I was trying to give him a voice so he would talk, and nothing was really working out well. It didn't sound great. And then I realized I didn't need a voice. I just kind of came up with a whole act right there. But instead, I'd walk around with him, and the kids would come up, and I would say, "Hey, did you know where I got this guy? He was growing right up there on that hill, right up there in the garden. He was just right there." So I picked him. So do you want to see his pet? He actually has a pet with him. And they would say yes, and I'd say, show me your pet. Show me your pet, come on. You know what, I know how we're going to get him to show the pet. Can you tickle him under the chin, just a little? Just. All right, there we go. Oh, there's his pet. He's got a pet fly. Do you want to pet his fly? Go ahead and pet his fly. There you go. Oh. So that was my whole gimmick. And I came up with it really fast, and I just dropped the whole idea of a voice. So you don't even need to do voices. You can just do whatever. And I was just happy to get some use out of him. So that was the third one I ever made. The fourth one, I made him one, because he gets duplicates of everything I make. The fifth puppet I ever made, and I decided to challenge myself. And that was what's in here. We actually had to build a special container for this one. This is the dragon.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Now, the ghost took 26 hours. He took 30 hours. He took 30 hours. He took 69 hours. His teeth were once white, but this stuff yellowed over time. He is so heavy, I actually have to hold him from the bottom because it stretches out right there. You can see the stitching is way better on this one.
You know, I got a birthday coming up.
But I have not had a chance to use him. I'm trying to find a story. What I'd like to do is get a finger puppet. I have a story I found that was this guy, he meets a dragon, and I would use this as my stage. But the way I would set this up, he'd just be kind of hidden, and I'd have the finger puppet of the guy. Kids aren't really impressed, it's just a little finger puppet. Not even like the ones he's got, more like... This is a terrible example of a finger puppet. I'm not very good at them, but something like this. And so I'd have the guy here, and he meets the dragon, and then all of a sudden, you've got the dragon. So that way he looks impressive when I do the story. I just haven't quite worked out the details of it yet. But I actually made him as a Christmas present for my nephew, and I was looking at him, I was like, I wonder if I have time to make another one. So I kept this one and made him another one. His eyes are just ping pong balls, cut in half. And that's another thing. A lot of the materials, even the professionals, from what I've learned, the ghost eyes, all they are the tops of spoons. You just cut them off. And I just covered up with felt where the cut was. There were some cracks in it, and I just covered all that up. From what I understand, even the people who make the Sesame Street ones, they do this stuff all the time. That part, all that is, are those felt Velcro dots you get in the craft section at Walmart or even Dollar Tree. So it's just a lot of materials you just kind of gather together. As far as how much it took, usually with puppets about this size or the plant, I get 2 yards of fabric that's cut by the yard, so it's 2 pieces of 1 yard fabric. 1 yard for the head, 1 yard for the body and the arms. And that usually gives me enough with some leftover. The dragon took, I think, about 2 or 3 yards. He took a lot of material and a lot of foam. But I'm going to show you real quick. I keep skipping ahead, and I'm sorry about that. I'm going to show you the video real quick about how I made the head. What he does is basically what the ghost head is. I just followed exactly what he said.